work in is a decorative cement product called Milestone. And what it's basically used for is decorative cement overlays for any stable substrate that you have, that you basically want as a working surface that has a decorative finish. You can use it comes with basically a white milky liquid, which is an acrylic bonding agent, which is the mother acrylic that holds pretty much anything that's water-based, like latex, grout, thin sets, or pretty much any water-soluble glued thing. It's what is the mother acrylic that holds the chemical bond of all that together. You integrate that with Portland cement, decorators, and these and universal tint, which is the same pigment sets that you use for latex paints, and you can, using multi-layering techniques, you can create any decorative cement surface you could think of. A lot of people, this stuff's been around since 1980. It was invented by a guy named Don Miles, and it's been tested for floors, walls, countertops, showers, steam rooms. It's been used on roofs, decks for over 20, 30 years, and after about 10 years, you might need to clean it and pressure wash it, and it's still rock solid. Mostly what my company does is floors, and we do a lot of wall treatments. And I do a lot of fixes of other people's products that have been up there for 10 years. We come in and do a little decorative fix to make it look pretty. So I have a bunch of sample boards that you can take a look at. But mostly what you look for an underlayment is a stable substrate that has a porous surface. If you when working over woods, it's fine for an interior space where you're not dealing with a heavy concentration of moisture. But since wood will heat and contract at a different ratio than the cement product will over time, meaning 10 years, pop your bond, you'll have to reapply the surface. There are different things you can do when you're working over the top of like a plywood substrate, where if you put cement board with a thin set base and screw that down, you can use the surface over the top of it and make it look like a concrete slab, which is good if you're going from different transitions of construction from a wood to a concrete slab back to a wood, or if you're dealing with steps and you want to maintain the illusion of continuous flooring throughout a certain space. So this stuff's been around for years. There's lots of people that use it in high-end construction, and a lot of homeowners use it too in a similar product called Skimstone, and it's a little bit more expensive to buy off the set, but it has a bit more product guarantee because they have a lot more quality assurance behind it. A lot of the people that use the Milestone product are we all just sort of do it as we guarantee our own projects, and it's more in pieces, its own art piece. So I have some different substrates if you want to take a look at it later, or if you have any certain questions later, I can let you know. So anyway, thank you.
All right. So I'm a mosaic artist, and I've also worked with the Milestone as well. Mosaic is the same thing, and as it needs to go over a firm substrate in order for it to be really strong. As far as working with the Milestone, it's good to put it right next to it, but the Milestone has enough acrylics that working with the glass mosaic, a regular grout is much better than the Milestone. But you can use things like tapes to put put designs right next to each other and work with them with each other. Let's see, I brought this right here to kind of show how you can use the glass over, like I figured the bottle bottoms, when people make those walls, you could do like a whole wall and do really cool designs where you put just one color on each bottom of each glass or whatever. And I usually do these little guys with clear adhesive caulking, but it turns white when it gets wet. So like I would think epoxy or something, you could do some really cool interior visual colors with the bricks of the glass bricks, the glass bottle, which I want to know how to make those. But I think that with mosaic, you could do a lot of cool effects that would affect the light coming into spaces on the outside of any of the structures. As soon as you can draw little things, and you can have a work party and just have the glass and do paint by numbers. It's a great project for families because I use just a lot of my things thing to glue it to, because a lot of my stuff is artwork, so it's not outside as much. So I use like the adhesive caulking when it's things like this, and that would not be okay. So that's why I think the epoxy would work better. I think that I use for a lot of them over time, different things have worked and not worked, and I use basically liquid cement to glue it to wood and to different substrates I do. But that's also interior artwork, so I think there would be a little bit of a learning curve, and there might be some better products that other people know about that would do like exterior type things. Although we did a sculpture and the mosaic, that was how long ago? That was like 15 years ago, and it's been outside ever since, and the mosaic standing up on it. So,
Awesome.
so I guess it just all depends too. I'm sure there's a lot of hit and miss with joints within the whole structure all over the place. So,
Nice try.
but yeah, so
Okay. Now, could we use like household garbage and that kind of glass, like glass jars, spaghetti jars, that kind of stuff?
the thing about the glass I get that I like, and at first I started using old stained glass from other from stained glass that was cut. But the cullet that I buy, it's kind of the ends of it, and it's been crushed, and so you can't hurt your hand. So
Okay.
you know what I mean? It doesn't cut. So a lot of things might have that. You'd have to file them down with a diamond file or something, whereas this pretty much.
I see.
Yeah, I get it at a place called Spectrum Art Glass in Woodinville, right off of kind of Highway 9, and I haven't gotten it for a while, but they only sell it per 5-gallon bucket per color. So, but I have I don't know how many different colors, a lot of buckets, but that's one thing about using this glass, and it is kind of a recycled product because it's a second use because they're trying to make it for the art glass, and this is just the stuff that doesn't exactly specify, and they just crush it and use it for this. So I don't know if it is kind of recycled in a
Okay.
way.
I'm just curious if
Yeah,
there was a way.
but you could use, like, I know people use like dishes and all kinds of things like that. As long as it doesn't have a sharp edge, there wouldn't be a problem. Even something that does, you could do like use a diamond file or something to file it down. But
Okay.
yeah, you could use whatever you wanted really for mosaic. Like you can use river rock. You can, just as long as you get something good to put in there. And then when you grout, you just want to make sure you get all of the grout off before you leave it, because grout is pretty much there once you put it in there, and if you let it dry, it's really hard to get off. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want to get up and talk about your project?
Sure.
All right.
Hello, I'm Steven.
Oh, hi, I'm Adrian.
Yeah, so we're here as representatives of OSA, which stands for Our Sacred Acres. It's up in Machias area, and we do a bunch of different sustainable living practices and workshops up there. And currently, we're building an Earthship greenhouse on the property. So I've got a couple photos on my phone that I don't know if we can put them on a screen or something, but I can show you. I can pass it around and show you guys or whatnot. Some of the stuff that we're literally in the middle of right now, and we've had to deal with a few issues with putting the design together and everything. Was our first location that we had picked out for it. We found out later that our septic drainage field was bigger than we previously thought, and went pretty much right over the area that we were originally planning to put the greenhouse. So that was X'd out, and so we resurveyed the land, found a nice location that got just as good a sun, and better yet, it was on the highest point of the property. So
Much better spot.
a lot of sand in the soil, so it was great drainage, and then naturally all the water would just flow away from that spot. So it allowed us to continue with the build and eliminate an extra step, which is building a drainage ditch around the structure, which if you need to build a drainage ditch, it's basically you find your
basically wherever the water's coming in or around, if pretty much have it coming from different directions, then it's about 2 to 3 feet outside of the perimeter of your earthship's lowest foundation points. You would dig down another 2 feet and do about a foot wide. And there's a couple ways you can do it. Just a typical French drain with rock and perforated irrigation pipe and some more rock on top of that. A really inexpensive way to do it, if you can't find that material for free, or at least the piping for free, is you can get it's called rootstop fabric, and you can lay that down in the ditch, put rocks over it, fold the fabric back over it, put some more rocks on top, and that'll work the same.
So I want to talk a little bit about where we got our materials and what exactly we've been using and how all that worked out. So we used a couple different sizes of tires, and we pounded them full of dirt using sledgehammers and pickaxes, and those large metal plates. You just
Tampers.
Tapers, thank
Tamper.
you. Exactly. So we used tapers. We pounded them down. You want to get the tires so full that they feel like they're solid. And we used some of the tires to hold the posts. So when you're doing the framing part of the project, you have so you have a tire, and we dug down 2 tire depths down, so about 3 feet, right? 2 to 3 feet.
Each tire's they're normally about 7 inches thick,
So
and then when they're done pounding them in, they're about 9 inches thick.
Right. So 2,
Yeah.
18 inches down.
Foot and a half.
And then we just we took these large 4x4 posts, right? 4x4s, and then we set them in the tires, had them exactly the way we wanted them, make sure they were level. And then the greatest thing about our project is that it did not matter the length of the pole when we put it in. So it's one of the things we realized is the whole, for the most part, it's measure twice, cut once. With tires, that's not a huge issue, because you can just pack them full of dirt even more. And so when we were putting in the tires, we actually made a calculating error for the height that our post needed to be at. And the greatest part about it is this fantastic man right here took a saw and just cut the tops off of the posts so they were the proper height. So if you're going to put a piece of wood in concrete, make sure it's longer than the length you actually need, unless you measure twice, which we didn't do. So so we just wanted to say that there is a group that we are working with in Bellingham. It's the Restore. They have solar glass, and they really want to pair with people who are doing earthships and greenhouses and anything like that, because they're tinted.
They're not tinted. It's
texture,
literally the
please,
best
yeah.
material you can have for greenhouse or letting light in, because it allows full spectrum light, and it actually magnifies it. It has these little tiny magnifying glasses. They're about this big, sandwiched in between 2 extremely thin layers of high break resistant glass. That's tempered
Yeah, I think
glass.
that's
So,
what
but yeah, it's the stuff that's used for going on top of photovoltaic cells.
Yeah.
Restore.
The Restore, Restore.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in Bellingham. So they're partnering with our Sacred Acres to kind of let people know of all the different materials that you can get. They have great prices on the glass, and if you make a bartering trade / group, we will help you out if you help us out kind of deal. They do donations depending on your situation. And what I meant by the glass is, how should I say this? It's not see-through like normal glass. It's kind of milky looking, so it's not like someone could. Thank you. That's perfect. Yeah, it's frosted glass.
It's similar looking
yeah.
because of the little magnify lens, but it literally lets more light in than regular glass.
And people can't snoop on you when you're doing your gardening if you don't want them to. So we got
those panels. They were only selling them for $20 a piece, a sheet.
They're very large
And
sheets.
it's
cheap. Yeah.
they're 39 by 64 and 3/4 inches. So it's like a little over 5 feet by a little over 3 feet.
We
How many sheets did you need for your project?
We have about a 200 square foot greenhouse that we're building, and we got 12 of them. And we're probably only going to use 10 because we got a sliding glass door that we're putting on one of the glass walls.
For $200, you got all your glass.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
and it's great quality glass too.
Yeah. Super
so-
super durable. You can set it in between two pallets and jump on the middle of it, and it just goes.
Yep.
Just
So
bends down, doesn't break.
So this guy actually framed all of our glass, which is awesome. We actually went out and got pallet boards that you can get off Craigslist for free. Go and pick them up, and then you use a saw, cut them to the size that you need. We did 1.5 by 1.5.
They're
inch
industrial
boards.
10-foot
Yep.
pallets.
Just-
Yeah, you just sledgehammer the tops off, and you got a bunch of 10-foot 4x4s.
Which is fantastic. We actually got all of our tires from 2 different places. We got it from like a Les Schwab and a car dump, and we have more than we needed. So that's
And-
completely free as long as you have the transportation to get it to the location you're working on. And then for dirt,
both of them also said if we had any extras, if we got too many, just to come by and throw them over the fence.
which is fantastic
So.
because they take up so much space. For the packing material for our tires, we used sand and dirt and recycled concrete. Was there anything else? Clay?
And dirt, rock. It was mostly the pretty much the best material you can do for packing tires is just a mix of sand and clay. You
Yeah.
want I think you only need about I think it's something like 10 to 20% clay, and when packed down with sand, that'll relatively create concrete.
Yeah.
As far as water permutation goes.
Just
Yeah.
got a phone call from somebody watching over the internet. They were wondering if you guys could talk into the mic.
Oh, sorry, darling.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Is that-
we're
is that better?
online? I didn't know we were online. Hello. How are you? Can you hear me now? Is anybody out there? Say yes if you can hear me. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Cool. Wah. Wah, 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 wah.
All right.
Was your sand dry when you packed your tires?
Everything was dry when we packed them.
What's the
It
water
was-
pressure?
it was-
Does it have to be dry?
So it was damp, I would say.
Okay.
It wasn't like dripping with water or anything, but it had rain. It's been raining the last couple days that we've been doing that, and so it did get rained on.
Did you research it
But-
at all and find out what the...
So what we did is
What the-
when it got rained on, we just repacked it and made sure that any of the holes that we had in the tires were packed again after it dried up a little bit because it helps it to settle. I don't think that it was recommended that we allow it to get rained on, but I don't think that it is
It's not an
a
issue.
huge issue because it's such a flexible material that we're using that it's basically like playing in a sandbox, and there's no rules when you're playing in a sandbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with tire pounding construction, it really is. You just lay the tires down and pound them in. If they're not level, you just keep pounding until it gets level, and you just add more stuff. You can get so much material into a tire. It's amazing. You get it's like 7 to 10 bucket loads of soil in a tire like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question?
You guys managed to find your clay just in the soil around, or did you have to research?
So the question is, did we find clay or did we have to, in the sand and what we were digging out, do we have to go get it?
So what we did was we went to a couple different. There was a fill dirt place that just had free fill dirt. So we just went there, truck loaded it up, and I was just looking for something that had minimal organic matter in it. Is really the key.
We actually had one concern while we were picking up our materials was to what ratio do we want sand and dirt? and how are we going to mix it, and what is the protocol for like all the tires being filled with the same material. One idea that we had is like lining up the places that you're going to go to get the material, and then picking the loads up. So putting one on, like whatever like vehicle you're using, pick up one of the loads of the amount that you need, and then go and drive and get the other part so it's mixed while you're collecting the material. Yeah. Does that help? Does that answer your question? Sweet.
Yeah, and another thing is, if you check it out and you see that the material getting is pretty much just sand, it really only takes 10% clay to solidify that sand or rock. So that's, and you can find, there's normally some places you can get free clay at too.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate for people online, and because I wasn't using the mic before, we got solar glass, which he can give you more details on. If you didn't hear it before, I think that was before the mic got hooked up to the Etherweb. The Restore, Restore, in Bellingham has paired with Our Sacred Acres, and they're selling and making deals with people for, like business-to-business transactions of this glass, which is amazing. And if you'd please talk about it, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So to go back, recap over that, it's the glass that's originally built for photovoltaic solar cells. It allows full spectrum light and magnifies that light as well. So you get a little more intense, especially up here in the cloudier regions. It's kind of needed. And in our colder winter months, it definitely helps warm up a lot. And pretty much our biggest issue with this glass is creating enough ventilation. But fortunately, we've before picking the spot, or when we found the spot that we were building our Earthship, we figured out where the wind flow goes, and so we're having a sliding window on either side of that to create a draft to help cool down in the summer months. Yeah. But the Restore is a great place for getting material like that. They've got a ton of this solar glass. It's a little over 5 by a little over 3 feet, and $20 a piece. So super affordable. We got a 200 square foot greenhouse that's a little over 10 feet tall, covered with less than around $200 worth of glass from them.
I just wanted to add that with our Earthship, I remember one of the questions before was like, how are we, how did we design it, or what was our plan for the design? This wonderful man actually did most of that work, and Stephen worked really, really hard with some people who actually flew in who've done Earthships before, and they figured all this out because it was a crazy firestorm of, oh my god, here, deal with this. And so first of all, what happened is the location that we had turned out to not be suitable because of the land, just not the location, but because of the location in respect to the house. So our plans went out the window when our location had to change. And I think one of the main things, I actually wrote it in my little journaly thing over there, that one of the things you have to remember when you're building with like recycled free materials off of the Etherweb and asking people like, hey, can I have these materials because I want to do this without spending a whole lot of money, or I don't want it to go to a junkyard, all of that. It's like the materials that these buildings are made out of can be so flexible if you have the space for it, that whatever you want to build is totally possible, and it looks sleek and amazing, and it's like, it just feels good inside to know that you're like recycling all these materials that people gave you for free because they don't want them, and you can do whatever you want with it, and it keeps it warm. It's about, 65 degrees year round, and it doesn't need heating or cooling. Having like window vents is fantastic. Just like dig down into the earth, pack the tires, and the earth will keep you at a relatively normal temperature all year round. Saves a buttload of money for your pocket, so you can go out to eat and get like all that good Indian food in your tummy. And
so another thing with design, maybe answer some questions of anybody who's actually trying to build an Earthship. When surveying the land, basically the main things to look at is your earth, first of all, how the drainage is, where water flows, watch when it rains. Secondly, the sun, not this time of year, but in winter solstice, and check out where the sun lies there, because that's what you want to build for, is catching that sunlight. So that's when it's most crucial. Next thing is airflow, like where the wind blows, so you can design your building to have vents from those locations. Let's see, and the other thing is making sure you don't have a septic drainage field underneath your location is pretty key. So that's pretty much, we all came to this location, thought we had all the material, thought we had a design that was all ready, had a location that was all ready, and we get there, and that went out the window. So we found a new location, but we couldn't do the original design, so we had to make a whole new design on the fly. Doing that, and then also gathering materials for the design, which we hadn't quite done. And so normally with most constructions, you put together a design, then you find the location, and then you buy the material, and you build it. With Earthship building, it's more you find the location, and then you get the material, and then you make the design based on what material you have.
That is key. That is absolutely key. I think he just touched on like one of the most important parts. With Earthships, it's you build for what you have, not design for what you're going to get. Because, I mean, unless you're willing to pay for all the materials and get exactly the kind of glass that you want and exactly the doors that you want, that's totally fine. Like, design it exactly to your specifications and have exactly what you want. But for those of you out there in the ether web who are like, I'm not super into spending hundreds of dollars on this project. Thousands of dollars on this project, like reasonably so. Like Craigslist and like recycling places, call all your friends, be like, hey, like check garage sales, everything, because there's like sliding glass doors, there's sliding windows, there's random glass pieces. I mean, we found many options, and we were able to choose the ones that would fit the design that we are currently using based on the framing that we've already done. And I think keeping yourself flexible is the best way to make it so that you're not spending a whole lot of money on the project, which I think is what most of us are interested in, is not going broke building an Earthship. So.
Another thing to add on to that, when you're getting free material, it's a lot easier mentally, I guess, to overbuild. And so if you have a mess up where you had designed for a specific material and then you didn't get that material, and so you get another material and it's got a different design, you can easily, just make changes in construction on the fly there with your material, overlap things, add in extra boards. It's going to be more structurally sound than it needed to be, but it didn't cost you anything, at least.
One of the issues that we ran into, I believe there's this website online that you can go to, and it has like a huge network of people's houses and properties, and of like where septic fields are and drainage systems, and like what is underneath the ground of your property. The property that we're working on, we thought we knew where it was, and then we looked it up on a website, and it said it's like 4 times bigger. I was hoping you would know that. Do you guys know? We will get back to you guys on that. I can look it up after we're done having this little speaky talk and let you know.
It was a Gov thing. I'm sure if you Googled government land survey or something, then you'd probably find it.
And it's really good to know what's under your land, just in case. Like wires and pipes and stuff is like not something that you want to like hit a shovel with, or water cisterns.
Yeah.
Totally.
My mom had a house in Mill Creek that they built the house on top of a huge, it's like a 1,000,000-gallon cistern. Nobody knew it was there.
Oh wow.
But then there was a real bad storm, and the whole basement filled up with water.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to end up dealing with that. So yeah, do very good research on when you're surveying the land for your location. one more thing I was thinking about. So with earthship construction, it doesn't always have to be buried in the ground. You sometimes, one of our buddies that was helping us with this project, he had just come from, what was he, in Arizona, I think, doing an earthship, and the aquifer system was about a foot under the ground. So they couldn't dig down. So what they did, and then in the rainy seasons, it pretty much floods. So what they did was they laid a couple feet of rock down on top of where their plot was, and they tampered that down, got it all level, and then they started building on that. And then when they were done, then they just got a bunch of earth and pushed it up on the back wall for gathering the mass from the heat of the sun.
We should talk about them.
I have a little question about that.
Sure.
So I've been wondering about that because my location on our water table is pretty high, so I'm not sure we can dig down. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering about the cooling, and this is something that you guys may just have to check the temperatures throughout the year and report back to everybody, because I'm very curious about if you burn up from ground level, could that be 50 degrees? In the ground it's 50, 55 degrees. Seems like it's going to be hotter.
Um,
Above ground, even if you do have the soil behind it, it's still above ground.
Being above ground, if the mound, I guess that's above ground is around a 45-degree angle facing south, you're gonna get a lot of heat from the sun that warms that up. At night though, it's pretty much the Earth is pretty much going to be the same temperature because it's all it's the same material, so it transfers heat equally.
Hopefully when you're done, you get a thermometer in there that measures your highs and lows.
Okay.
Definitely would like to know.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
Data from you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
If your berms
Well.
are at least 6 feet thick, it's going to be the same as if it was underground 6 feet. So that's,
Yeah.
if you want to make it, improve your thermal mass efficiency, you just make your berms bigger. So anything over 6 feet is probably going to be within a degree or two of the constant temperature you get underground.
Yeah, that's correct.
Did we say
So,
what you just said?
yeah, so for you in the interweb watching, the gentleman pointed out a nice fact that basically if you dig up your berm on top of ground at least 6 feet, then it will be within a degree of your earth temperature underneath. So it would be, if you can't dig down 6 feet, then berm up 6 feet, or dig down 2 feet and berm up 4.
I believe that's what we did.
Yeah, that's actually, we dug down 2 feet and we bermed up 4. So
On the front wall.
on the front wall, on the back wall, it's
10
7 feet above the regular ground, so 9 feet total. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
I had walked in right when you guys were away from the mic, and you said you put some kind of fabric down the bottom. What was the name of that stuff?
So we actually didn't have to do this because of the location that we were in, but most places you would want to create a drainage ditch to divert water away from the structure. And so there's two pretty basic ways of doing this. It's pretty much just your French drain. So you want to dig out 2 feet down and 3 feet out from the perimeter of the lowest part of your foundation. So we dug 2 feet down. If we were to put in a drainage ditch to divert water from our structure, we would go 3 feet out from the outside of the tire walls, and then 2 feet more down, or 4 feet down total from the outside ground. You want to have it about a foot wide at least, and you want to fill that up with some rock, a couple inches, and then you can either put a irrigation tube that's perforated, and then more rock on top of that, and then you can just bury it. Or if you don't have access to that perforated tube, then you can use rootstop fabric, which you can get. It's got rootstop fabric.
Is that the same as just landscaping fabric?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It will keep ivy from growing and all the issues that could come up from not putting something down.
Well, mainly it's about keeping the dirt out of the rocks, because it really only takes about 10% matter to clog up your rocks, and then you have worse drainage than the soil around.
So I just wanted to paint a picture for you guys of what our Earthship looks like. So it's ironically amazing that I can do it with this stage. Perfectly so. So if this is our front wall, you can see how the stage is like a little bit off from the ground. Picture that as the tires that are coming out as the front wall, and we would be sitting down inside on the concrete floor that you guys are on. And these are our front tires. Or lower.
It's about 2 feet lower.
And our back wall is about as tall as the top of this wall.
It's about that tall from this point.
Okay, it looks taller because I'm shorter than him, to me. But yeah, so what we are actually planning to do is we have a mound of dirt behind the wall, and we left 3.5 feet for the water cisterns. The roof of our Earthship goes from the really high back wall up, and then from the a little more than halfway back, it comes down to the front wall, where we have all glass, so that it lets in as much light as possible, which then gets kind of magnified and spread to most of the insides. But you can...
Yeah, a key aspect to the dimensions and designs for your Earthship and getting a proper amount of sunlight is having a 45-degree angle facing your south winter solstice sun.
Just clarification, our Earthship is much bigger than this stage. Just saying.
It's about 200 square feet.
Yeah. So where we're putting the cisterns that collect the water that we can use to get out with spigots to water and maintain the plants inside of our Earthship, which is collected through like snow and rain and such nasty weather. But it's quite gentle in the location that we're at, which is fantastic. The water goes from the glass down into the cisterns. There are going to be 2 of them sitting next to each other. 3 of them sitting next to each other on the other side of the back wall. So they're on the outside of the Earthship, and they will be surrounded and sitting on a huge mound of dirt, which is helping to keep insulated the tire wall of which they sit next to and against.
Are you guys doing filtration? Are you filtering the water?
We are doing, basically it's just so the roofs, the back side of the roof slants down towards the back tire wall. Off the edge of that, we have a gutter. It's just a 8-inch or 10-inch PVC cut in half. Then from there, we have another 3 PVC pipes going in through the ground into the 3 55-gallon drums that are tier down to have a gravity feed. And on the bottom of the third one, we have a spigot coming out of that, or PVC that comes out a couple feet with a spigot on the end of that. So the whole thing gets buried with earth as well. So the pipes are just, when it's done, you'll just see a gutter and 3 pipes going into dirt. So on the front side, we use the glass that we got at the restore, and then on the back side, it's just sheet metal that we found, Craigslist and whatnot.
Yes. So the location that we had initially was a flat location, and part of the issue that we had and great learning activity for us was the location that we chose was slanted. So we had to actually dig out down on the upper side and then clear out all of the dirt so that we had a flat greenhouse bottom. So our tires towards one end actually go deeper than the tires on the other end, because we had to balance out the amount of mass and the actual earth that we were going to use as not only insulation but a part of the foundation. And so that's another way that this material is extremely durable, and you can just make it what you need, is that we actually were able to build on a very I mean, it wasn't very slanted, but it was a quite slanted location, and it wasn't even that
top
bad.
of a hill, so
Yeah.
like a small hill. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had to dig it out to flatten it out. And let's see, what else was it that we learned on doing this? Having the patience to just let mistakes go and just kind of work around them is key, I think. Like, especially when you're working with free material, you end up getting things that don't quite match up. And if you got a little a little hole here, a little hole there, fix it with some cob at the end of it. So it's nothing. Little mistakes that you would that would be a big concern. You have to like tear down and redo the whole thing in normal construction. It's just don't worry about it.
Yeah. The other thing that I don't think we got to yet is we're still in the process of building our Earthship. And one of the cool things that we did is on the ends, when you stack the tires, you alternate them. So it's like a whole tire and then a whole tire. So there's like half of a tire hanging off the end. And if you want to keep building up, what we did is we actually used a saw to cut the part of the top rim of the tire and the bottom rim. So it's just a tire that has been sliced open with two of the ends exposed, and then we just fit it around the tire that was inlet a little bit, so it's actually a flat side on our wall. Originally our design was it would be tiered off to the sides, kind of like a very curved shape, kind of like this if it was a more circular.
We're really only able to do it this way because of where it was and how there was already earth mounting up on pretty much three sides of the back wall had dirt all around it already. So normally when doing a tire wall, you need to stagger it down. So if you want 10 tires for the length of the wall at the top, and you're going up 5 tires high, then you need to also go out 5 tires out. Each time you step down, you do a half tire, and a half tire goes out. So basically for every height, you're going to be going another tire out. So with 5 and at 10 across and 5 tires high, your bottom is going to be 15 tires. So I just keep that in mind. having if you want a flat wall, that's fine. You want a curved wall, that's fine. You want an angled wall, you can do that. All sorts of different shapes. But at the end, like where your structure, let's say you got a box here, your wall goes out to the edge of that box. When it starts tapering down, it's best to actually have it curve around and like kind of hug the mound of dirt that you have piling up around it. Either that, or you'll have to basically, when you start pounding the earth around behind it, it's going to slide down around and around the front, and you're going to have to just add more dirt and more to get that mounded up properly.
And just we can keep you all informed on how the design that we did for our wall worked out. While this lovely Stephen was talking, I was kind of thinking, wow, that sounds really complicated, like building out and doing it huge, and like it's 4 times as large out as it is up, and I know that's an exaggeration, but the way that we did it seems very structurally sound, and it just seems so much simpler than what we needed, and we ended up with a whole bunch of extra tires sitting around our property that we're gonna pawn off on someone else or return them from where they came. But yeah, I mean, really play with it. Honestly, like if you don't like the stuff that you read where it's like, oh, I wouldn't want to do my Earthship like this, well, that's totally cool. You don't have to.
So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you guys if they want to use you as a
Oh, yeah, so you can get a hold of any one of us through Our Sacred Acres. That's info@oursacredacres.com. That's OUR Sacred, SACRED, Acres, ARECS. Yeah, I think that was right. Yes, that's correct. .com.
We'll put that up on the Earthship Seattle
Sweet.
meet up and stuff too.
Were you on that Skype session? Okay, cool.
So we covered quite a bit. Is there any other questions back there? Standard tire size. What standard tire size? Okay, so
Hold on.
the no, I heard it. He asked what standard tire sizes you'd use, right? So what we did, we used what was it? We used 235. Sorry, we used 235s for the base, I believe, and then as you go up, you can, if depending on how tall you're making your wall, you can shrink the tires down in size a little bit, and then you can also even use, like, if you end up having spaces and stuff that are like as you're building your wall, you can throw even tinier tires, like little like play tires and whatnot. Sorry about that. My phone's just okay. I'm gonna turn this on silent here.
Something else people might want to consider if they feel energetic. You can get semi-truck tires, and they're a lot beefier rubber than regular car tires, so they would be really good for the feet.
That would. It's a little overkill unless you're doing several stories.
The gentleman over here was saying that it would be, if you're feeling really energetic, you can use semi tires for those in the Ethernet.
And about the tire size, did that answer your question, sir? In the back?
Yeah.
All right, cool. You're welcome.
Yes.
Thing about tires, you mentioned that their tires have three size components. So what we use for 235, 75, 15s. So
Okay.
three components of the tire size.
Correct. There are three components to the tire size, and it has to do with how big the tire is in diameter from tread to tread, how thick it is, how deep the tire is, and then also how thick the wall of the tire is also that. So
Any more questions?
crucial to get all.
I mean, for a row, you'd have to use the same ones, right?
As long as the outside diameter is the same and the depth of the tire is the same, those are the more important things. Having the wall being smaller just allows you to build it up higher, and so like when you can pound more dirt if there's more, and balloon it out essentially more. Yeah, it really helps a lot in the build if you get a bunch of different size tires, then just go through and organize them so that, and then if you only have 10 of this one and you have like 30 of this one and you have 50 of this other one, you might want to just work it out so that you're using only one kind for each row. And you can alternate different sizes on a row, but you definitely don't want to go from smaller to bigger as you grow up.
So what we did is we went and we got a whole bunch of tires and just kind of threw them in the back of a truck for the sizes that we preferred. And then we actually stacked them and kept them in separate piles so that we knew the differences between them, which was really good. So we tried to stay as organized as possible. Also, the top of our back wall is smaller tires than the ones that we used at the base. It seems like what Stephen was saying is that you don't want to be using the smallest tires on the bottom because that's not, yeah.
Unless you got like several hundred to 1,000 or whatever of the same size tire, then you can just build with that.
Yeah, and we did use concrete, so it is reinforced with concrete. Also, we're planning to use some material to go around the tires when we're finishing. It's
Cob.
Yeah, we're gonna finish it with cob. Yeah, go for it.
There's a question over here. No? Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Audrey.
I was wondering if you could speak to our Sacred Acres and what that is for people who don't know.
Oh, yes. Our Sacred Acres is a beautiful homestead that's we're working on turning it into a trust currently, but it is a sustainable living and permaculture orientated family, I should say.
So at our Sacred Acres, there are actually a whole bunch of workshops that they do, and they have community events, yoga retreats. They have, I wouldn't necessarily say festivals, more like family gatherings of people who are like-minded and just want to experience each other in life and like peace with nature and see what we can do with the land that we have and how to be proper stewards. It also has been extended that if anyone would like to come and visit, that you contact the center and have an approved time to go, and you communicate with us if you would like to visit. My understanding is that we would like the green earthship house that we are making to be, to a certain extent, on display, because there seems to be a lot of interest in the community of the Northwest and like many other areas to see an actual one and to like have it be palpable instead of just looking at it online. So if anyone is interested, I'm sure Danielle would be more than willing to talk with you and schedule a visit. She and the community that live there are very very lenient, but at the same time they like to have a calendar of people coming and going and know what's going on their property.
So our Sacred Acres it's up in Machias area, which are just north of the Snohomish-Machias border.
Yeah. It's just
east of the
Everett.
southmost point of Lake Stevens.
Yeah.
And there's so with this is taking a little bit long, but we're gonna get off here. But I just want to let everybody know out there that there is. So our Sacred Acres is doing a yoga retreat class workshop this week, as well as a Reiki workshop that we're flying in some people from around the country that are experts in the matter.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
No, I was going to just say, I want to open
Please.
the mic back up for other people.
Yeah,
so my
yeah,
husband
thanks.
can talk
Cool.
about stuff, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. One of the things that we do is we do organize field trips to projects like that, and so we definitely, Earthship Seattle just wants to be a platform and a resource for everyone to kind of mingle and get to know each other. Earlier, someone approached me and they wanted to come up and talk about something. Come on up. And anybody else who wants to? Is there anyone else who has a project they want to share? Okay, excellent.
Hi, my name is Heather. I just moved to Seattle. I am working on creating awareness about indoor air pollution. I think permaculture is amazing, but I'm not doing it yet. So I'm actually living in a normal place normal, and it has normal paint, normal carpet, all these kinds of things. And who here knows about indoor air pollution? Awesome. Well, I mean, no, you know what I mean. So indoor air pollution is actually drastically worse than air pollution outside. And turns out most people, especially in America, spend about 80% of their life indoors. And a lot of these things, everyone has a different response, but they cause a lot of different things like mood disorders, ADD. A lot of these things go misdiagnosed. And it's all just because of stuff off-gassing on the stuff around us. And so I'm trying to create awareness about it, and I need help. If anyone's interested in learning more about it and maybe brainstorming about how we can engage the community, that would be great. That's all. Oh, one question?
Point of information. It requires 1 cubic yard of plant matter to filter the air in 100 square foot.
That's right. One clean air plant will filter the air. If you just, for those of you who are online right now, you can just Google clean air plants. There's actually a Wikipedia page devoted to it. And having one plant will filter 100 cubic feet of indoor space. But each plant filters different things. So in my house, I just moved from California, and I had like 20 plants in my house, and I have never been more productive in my entire life. And that was when I moved out with my parents. So if you can, have as many plants as you can, because I swear it will change your life. And your attention and focus and everything. So, anything else? Does anyone else have any questions? Or thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm not very prepared. I didn't really plan on doing this. Does this move? So I have 20 acres in Goldendale, Washington, and I was desperately trying to sell it because I am really behind on the payments. And instead, I kind of came up with this idea that I would like to build an earthship, have like a central area and build rooms off of it, and then build artist studios and make it kind of a retreat. And so I'm looking for people that would be interested to help me do this and have access to the land, like forever. So if anyone out there is interested, I can be contacted through Earthship. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Goldendale, Washington. It's south of the Yakima Indian Reservation, near the Columbia River, but above Hanford. So it's very hot in the summer. It snows in the winter. But it's beautiful, beautiful land. And can I link to Earthship? Or just post and put a website?
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So look for Christine and Goldendale. Thanks.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? About everyone knows how to find us on Facebook and Meetup, and if anyone's interested in hosting movie screenings to help spread awareness about Earthships, I can get movies for you. Yeah, I don't know. Good turnout tonight. So I think what I'm going to do is just open it up now for everyone to be social and get to know each other and talk about projects. Yeah?
I do have a couple of questions. I'm sorry I came in a little late.
That's okay.
Speaking of indoor air quality, what does anybody know about having tires being a structural component of the house? And I know, like, for instance, when I go into a tire store like Les Schwab, I'm like, seriously.
Right.
And I was wondering if that is an issue with the Earth brand tires.
Okay. So the question is about off-gassing of the tires in an Earthship home. And so what happens is when all the tires that are used in an Earthship have already been spent on the road. So that takes down the off-gassing factor quite a bit. And then once you compact them with dirt and burn them over, there's almost no off-gassing that happens at all. So, yeah, it's better than it would be in a normal house with your carpet and, yeah, paint and everything else, yeah. So an Earthship home is actually cleaner indoor air quality than a regular house. Yeah?
What about the plastic bottles with the sign?
The plastic bottles, so when you use the plastic bottle bricks, what you do is you take like chicken wire and you make a frame for a wall, and then you just place them in, and then you put cement or adobe, whatever it is that your cob, yeah, whatever it is. It's not exposed at all, and you would use the plastic bottle bricks, you would use them in interior walls, like the walls where you're going to separate bedrooms. You know what I mean? They wouldn't really necessarily be exposed to the outside. You wouldn't want to have that. And also, I think through trial and error, they discovered that you don't want to use the plastic bottles in your planter botanicals. You know what I mean? Because then you're risking that too. But yeah, they're great for insulation in between interior walls, though. Yeah? Sure.
Sorry, Heather's back. So one more thing that this reminded me of, cleaning chemicals are also a really big contributor to these chemicals that are in the air. And I actually had a really funny conversation with someone who sells green cleaning products. And she gave me this whole spiel. She was like, the first thing she said was, this is not an MLN, which is kind of like a pyramid scheme. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And I said, well, how do you feel about things like baking soda, white vinegar, and Castile soap? And she said, well, if we sold those, we wouldn't make any money. So those three things are all you need to clean your entire house, do your laundry, I mean anything. That's it. And you can, if you just use borax and I mean, I'm sure you've all looked this up online at some point, but you can do like 6 months of worth of laundry for $5.
Yeah,
If you just
I do that.
use,
I make my
yeah,
own laundry soap and
yeah.
save a ton of money.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
And then you can, eat more Indian food or whatever it is.
We also use rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle.
Oh,
If
rubbing
you got,
alcohol.
If you got like some funky smelling fabric or whatnot, like you just put
Oh,
some
yeah.
rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle and you mist it down, and that'll take care of it.
And then I also sometimes put hydrogen peroxide. That's really good. Instead of using bleach, you can just use hydrogen peroxide.
Excellent. Yeah?
I'm just curious about moisture inside a home
Mm-hmm.
in an earth ship. How do you ensure that they're
Yeah, moisture was an issue, and when we last September, Mike Reynolds, the architect that designed the Earthships, came to Seattle, and that was our biggest question. We're like, yeah, that's great, but how's that going to work here? We have so much water here. How are we going to handle mold and all that? And he said it's really, they covered a lot about drainage, and you just have to do like twice as much as you would anywhere else. But they've built Earthship homes in New England that have similar climate to us. Yeah, and the more projects that we get going like this, what we're finding is that we're getting people that want to build a tool shed or a greenhouse. We don't have any full-on earthships happening in our area yet, but we can use all these smaller projects as, little science experiments and kind of see what happens and do some trial and error of our own. Yeah.
So do you have different people who have said it's okay for us to go and look? I'd like to see different projects, that are
Yeah.
accomplishing different kinds of things. I'd like to be able to.
It's all just getting started. I mean, we're right here at the beginning right now. It's just really exciting. Yeah. And so if you know of anyone who has, land and wants to build some kind of a structure, send them to us and, we'll support it and help in any way that we can. You can also hire the Earthship Biotecture crew to come and do a build for you or help you with a build. They're there. There is an Earthship in Eastern Washington, and one of the other steering committee members has the contact information for that guy. We have organized field trips there, so we might do that again sometime in the future. And then you can also, if you're really excited, you can go to Taos and rent an Earthship by the night, which is what I want to do. I want to go rent an Earthship, and you can go and get that experience there. My current sustainable fantasy is to get a bunch of people that are like-minded together and go, maybe 30, 45 minutes outside of the city and build a little sustainable town of our own where we make the rules, right? We'll call it Funky Town. Yeah. I know, right? I'm ready. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. No.
About permitting and
Yeah.
from the county around here, are we finding that they're agreeable, that they're working with it? Like with this project that they're doing over here.
Yeah, everyone's doing small projects, so you don't need a permit. That's kind of what the trend has been so far. But we're ready to go to bat. We're ready to go to bat for that. In fact, one of the first things we did was we went down to the Green Building Committee and talked with one of the people there. And he said, everyone's in competition and everyone's looking for new solutions right now. So, and this is one of the most progressive places where we live right here. So as soon as we have someone with the money to do a project, then we can start pursuing how to get through permitting and codes. And we need that initial project to get things going. Another idea that we had was to build an Earthship, like a fully functional global model, straight across regular Earthship, and have it be a visitor center or an art project, but have it be like a public museum visitor center place where no one actually lived there. So no one's life would be in danger, supposedly. And, that might be a way to get through permitting. So we are ready and open for anyone with ideas or connections or any way that we can make that happen. You can reach us on Facebook at Earthship Seattle. You can reach us, a number of different ways, and we'd love to get that going. Yeah.
So I believe it's as long as the structure is less than 200 square feet, then you don't need a permit.
So less than 200 square feet, you don't need a permit?
Double check in your county.
Yeah, it's different from county to county.
And Machias and Snohomish area. What was the other thing I was going to say about that?
Okay. All right. Anybody else got questions or anything? Ideas, dreams, visions? Oh, of course you guys do. Oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah, come on up.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adrienne Chambers. I'm a 22-year-old something level student at Western. You can call me junior. You can call me experienced. I don't know. Anyway, I 6 months ago learned that Earthships existed. Then I moved from Seattle to Bellingham and talked to a guy in a coffee shop, and I said, hey, I learned about Earthships. These are these cool things. This is a school with a whole bunch of sculptures, and they have to be interactive sculptures. And I was like, it'd be really cool if we could do this on the campus. Turns out he writes for the magazine. So there's an article on the website at Clipsun Western. It's student writings. So there's an article on there about Earthships that just came out 2 months ago. Woo! Me and my big mouth. Woohoo! So anyway, the article basically says that I'm going to build an Earthship on the school's campus, and I have given myself a year. And so I'm going to be getting together with students, faculty, and staff who are already really excited about it. And there's a plot of land that I've chosen, and this is my stage of learning about physically how to do it before I design anything. I'm going to create a class, hi Etherweb, I'm going to create a class at Western in the fall, and it'll go until spring. And teachers and artists, and we're going to hire some of the Lummi artists to do some of the mosaic stuff for us. I'm really interested in keeping in touch with everybody and what they're doing, and the more information I have, the more realistic it would be for the dean to actually give me the okay to do this on their campus. Usually they pay people to do the art and all of the wonderful things that they like to brag about. So it would be fantastic if they could brag about the fact that they didn't have to spend a cent and they donated all of the money to the Lummi community or whoever should need such things as money. Anyway, thank you. My name is Adrienne Chambers, and if you'd like to read my article, just type in Clipsun, WWU, and it's the second one down, students writings. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Hello, my name's Steven. Just about the getting a building, that like a house that has all of your house things that you need, running water, lights, and whatnot. If we can only do a 200 square foot with no permit, we can make a studio that has all of those amenities. And have it like a mini house, basically.
Simple survival model.
Yeah, and you can do that, and we could set that up, and it wouldn't take much to, take our water line that we're rain catching, have it split, have one hose spiral on the ground, throw a bunch of compost on it for instant hot water, run that into the house. Put some solar or wind power or something up, or if you have running water like a creek, doing the hydro, like a off-skirt, non-invasive hydro power or something like that. But yeah, that's just a way to get started and maybe get some more help in the legislative end. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Yay. All right. Anybody else have any questions or projects, ideas they want to talk about? Yes, in Taos they had fires. And what happened was the tires melted a little bit, but since they're filled with dirt and they're bermed over, they're pretty safe. They melted. The front of the house, like the framing, burned, and some of the interior burned, but outside of that, no. There was no big tire fire. because they're filled with dirt. They're pretty protected. Does that answer your question? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, why don't you guys just go ahead and talk amongst yourselves and get to know each other and see if we can come up with something. Thanks for coming out.